So my name is Leila Nachawati, and I've been here for a few years, coming every year now. And I feel like I've sensed an evolution, and it's interesting to go through these last 2-3 years and be part of this festival and how these changes that we have been witnessing, especially in the Mediterranean area, Middle East, North Africa, also Spain, how they have been translating into the projects that we have been receiving over the last 2 years. So I was here 2 years ago, and I presented a few digital projects about Syria, which is my country of origin, and also about Spain, from Spain actually, which is my other country of origin. I am Spanish and Syrian. So at that time, 2 years ago, we were witnessing mobilizations and demonstrations at the same time in Spain and in Syria. And of course, they had very different nature, but you would be amazed at the amount of common aspects concerning the way citizens were expressing themselves, concerning the way they were actually finding ways to manage their own needs at a context where they did not feel so represented by traditional political media institutions. So 2 years later, the challenges are huge, both for my Spanish country and for my Syrian country. Spain is trapped in this huge financial crisis where we're losing rights that took us actually decades to conquer. And what can I tell you about Syria and where Syria is right now? But still, after 2 years, I still see huge amounts of projects where citizens are actually managing their own responses and finding ways to organize to respond to the emerging needs on the ground. Needs that go from the very local to the very global, needs that are not being responded to in such an institutional way or in such a traditional political controlled way. So, so we've been witnessing 2 years of huge changes. And I wanted to just spend a few seconds before I actually give the room to my colleagues who are actually the winners of this year's Digital Communities categories, because these 2 years we have been forgetting about this country that I've actually been working with for 2 years now, since we broke this wall of silence of terror in Syria. And I wanted to show you just a couple of pictures of what citizens, smart citizens, which is the name of this year's edition for the Digital Communities category, what citizens have been doing to actually manage their own needs on the ground. So this is Raqqa. It's a Syrian town. It's a liberated town, meaning that they're now free of regime control, but they're still shelled, they're still bombed, and they're still under lots of pressure. So they have this campaign called Clean Your Own City campaign, where citizens are actually rebuilding, building schools, and making sure the city stays clean. And then they're taking photos, posting them online, and sharing them with everyone inside Syria, out of Syria. This is another part of the work they're doing with art, with graffiti, with creativity, tackling the last chemical attacks. So they're, Syrian humor, even in the most extreme circumstances, they manage to make jokes, to create, to express themselves in extremely creative ways. So this is Merry Chemicals, to chemical attacks that the part of Damascus outskirts suffered a few weeks ago. And this is all highlighted in a project that I'm part of now, that we're about to launch with a new design that's called Syria Untold. So I would like to invite you guys in the next couple of days to check Syria Untold, because we will be highlighting digital projects regarding Syrian storytelling of their own uprising. Okay. So I want to invite you guys not to forget that within all this geostrategic talk we are listening to these days, There are Syrians, actually, who have a voice. There are Syrians that not a lot of people are listening to, Syrians who have a lot to say in their own context. And we are trying to create a timeline, a digital timeline of events, of videos, of musical projects, of art and graffiti, and how Syrians on the ground are creating their own resistance by expressing themselves and sharing it online. So we hope you will like this project. I'm really excited about this because amid all the noise you hear about Syria these days, sometimes you forget there are Syrians inside, and then they have something to say about this too. This is actually, has a lot to do with smart citizens like we talked about, with self-management, with people finding ways to create communities to respond to needs that are not actually being addressed sometimes or often by political representatives. And this is actually what was so attractive for us, the jury members, about these three projects that we have here today. So we have El Campo de la Cebada, which is an idea by a group of Spanish architects who decided to give use to public space that was actually being wasted and waiting for a project to be built, but maybe it will take years for this construction project to begin. So they started to use this project in a sustainable way, using solar energy, creating activities for people in Madrid so that they can enjoy. And this part of this idea that the space, the public space, belongs to citizens, belongs to everyone, to use it in a smart, responsible, sustainable way. And I actually invite you to take a look at El Campo de la Cebada because they have this huge, this great combination of offline, on the ground, and online work that's actually extremely effective. So Ida, David, welcome, and I'm looking forward to hearing you talk. We also have Refugees United. If we're talking about needs, local needs, global needs, what's more imminent and more of an emergency that all those millions of refugees that are actually lost and they can't actually track each other. So Refugees United responds through a search engine. It's actually very simple and at the same time very efficient, so that you can search for the names of refugees and try to track them and see where their whereabouts at different moments. So I'm really looking forward to hearing about this too. And then last but not least, we have Visualizing Palestine, which is another of the three projects that we awarded for the digital communities this year. And it's actually also responding to a local need, and it's actually a very global issue at the same time. And it has a lot to do with smart citizenship in the sense that they're actually presenting an extremely relevant issue worldwide in a very simple, graphic, visual way, making it much easier to understand a conflict that sometimes seems too complex to be approached. So I'm really excited about meeting you guys here, and I'm going to leave the floor to you guys now. So David, if you want to come first.
Thank you.